University of Sheffield, based in Yorkshire in the north of England, is an internationally leading research-intensive university. It has a proven track record of working in partnership with stakeholders to deliver both economic and societal benefits, working with industry to innovate and working with government agencies to inform policy. The water research activities based at the university are a perfect example of this. The research we do on catchment science, from source to tap and from sink to river, on water and wastewater infrastructure, and also the social implications of the management of this resource. Our relationship with water is changing. Over the next 40 years, society will see some major challenges. For example, climatic impacts may lead to increased drought and increased flooding, and we also will see the impact of ageing infrastructure.
We often say as academics that problems are multidisciplinary and solutions come from combining different disciplines in novel ways. One of the important things about a broad university like the University of Sheffield is we have a great number of pools of talent to draw on to solve a problem like environmental protection of water, environmental protection of soil. You have to bring these together and start talking about the problem.
When you study water from source to coast, it involves a lot of different processes. Sheffield offers fantastic opportunities in the sense that the source of water is not too far away in the Peak District, so you've got the whole integrated cycle within Sheffield, which makes it an ideal centre to study water.
Catchment science covers a large number of activities which affect the quality of water. So that includes the nature of society and the way our cities are built. It includes the ecology of our river systems. It includes how water flows, whether it's in floods or in droughts. And it includes the interaction with engineering, all the things that we do to make the world the place for us to live in.
There's a couple of examples I could give of this kind of relationship working. One's in the Ursula project. Different aspects of the research are being dealt with by both social science and engineering postdocs and academics. And the project is looking at social, economic and engineering solutions to issues to do with river development.
We have sociologists and political scientists, town planners and architects, engineers and scientists, and we all work together to try and understand how water and its catchments work and how we can get benefit from those.
My particular research area is in landscape visualization and how that helps for decision making. We as a university, we're quite interested in the Ursula project in the collaboration with the City Council because it provides us with the opportunity to work on a real world situation. And on the other hand, the City Council is of course quite keen to work with the university to get state-of-the-art visualization facilities, for example.
This is a particularly close working partnership. We've been able to have quite a long dialogue with the researchers, and also I think Ursula has provided a bit of a forum for debate, for instance over the way that the river is managed by the Environment Agency.
A lot of decision making and policy making in government now is evidence-based, and I think that's where we have been particularly useful.
This place that we're standing on now was flooded in 2007. The water was right up to the top of this bridge. People were clearly affected, and people don't want that to happen again very quickly. Where science comes in is in understanding why the river flooded in the way it did, and what are the consequences of doing various options, not just one option that may be obvious at first glance. The benefit to the agency is very much about the evidence, having stronger evidence on which to base their decision making. This means that the management decisions they make in the environment are much more likely to be effective.
There is an example that I have from a few years ago when we were doing a lot of work on the natural attenuation of pollutants, how pollutants can degrade all by themselves and don't always have to be cleaned up. And by working on our research and with the Environment Agency, we were able to demonstrate what is thought to be about a £5 billion saving to the national economy.
We take these different bits of the problem, we put them together, and it sharpens the questions. Everybody brings a different perspective to this problem. Everybody brings a different set of knowledge, a different set of expertise. By pushing against each other's ideas, what we do is we develop collectively a much stronger approach to solving the problem in order to make a solution happen as quickly as possible.
I've been at the university for the last 4 years now, but prior to that I've been in the water industry for over 35 years. 27 of those years at Yorkshire Water and 17 of those years in R&D management. One of the problems the water industry faces is ageing assets. This reservoir, for example, Langset, is over 100 years old, but it's still a key asset for Yorkshire Water.
What makes us proud at Sheffield is the way in which we link with the infrastructure industry and how we hope to manage and enhance the performance of that industry into the 21st century.
Getting engaged with industry, getting to understand their needs, their real problems is a key part of what I do. Facilities like this are a key factor in engaging the industry. It's not every university that can afford to make the investment in resources to get these sorts of things put together. It's really having things like this that are full scale, at a pilot scale, that we can make that leap from the idealised benchtop scale through to what's actually going to matter and be applicable in the real world.
The strength at Sheffield is the laboratory facilities. These are unique, sophisticated and world-leading.
This is an experimental facility to help us come up with novel new drainage designs for large portal frame buildings. This is very unique. It's one of the strengths of the Sheffield work we do is we put together experimental facilities like this, so we don't rely just on modelling and past data sets. This is certainly unique in the UK. I'm not aware of anything quite like this internationally even. A lot of the actual manufacture of this was commercially funded by the companies that sell these drainage systems around the world. But it's also funded through the research councils in the past as well, because it's a very interesting hydraulic phenomenon. We also use it a lot in teaching, so we have undergraduate project students get involved with this and go on hopefully work in the industry in the future.
What you up to? So what Bharati's doing here is she's taking some bacteria that we've collected from drinking water and she's culturing it on a solid agar plate. Now, not all bacteria can actually be cultured in this way, so it's quite it's exciting that we've got these different types of isolates that we can work with. The idea is to learn how they stick together, either individually or as a group, so that we can then relate that to more of an engineering scale by looking at drinking water pipes, like what they do down in civil engineering.
This is a huge infrastructure that our society relies on, providing our clean, safe drinking water as well as our waste disposal. This infrastructure, to give you an idea of the scale of it, is about 330,000 kilometres of clean water distribution pipe in England and Wales. That's approaching the distance to the moon. There's about the same again for sewerage networks, and this is a really old infrastructure in a lot of cases.
What my research is involved in is really understanding biological processes in the environment, and in particular I'm really interested in understanding how bacteria interact with the environment and also what impact that could have on the engineering of these different types of distribution systems or sewer networks.
If you look at samples like this one here, where we've got all this deposit of iron corrosion, even in this condition, we can make these pipes work for us, perform perfectly satisfactorily.
My lab is environmental microbiology, and my research group is here, and they are working on their benches. So I think in this area, there's the most exciting things is to develop synthetic biology. For example, we can engineer our cells to sense environmental contaminants, and we use these cells to detect toxicity and contamination in the environment. So this is John. He's a postdoc working in our group. He's working with biosensors. We can actually use this sensor to understand what's really going on in the environment. The good thing here is we can have a shared passion to understand the mechanisms of life. This is a good atmosphere. People can share ideas and then to stimulate or inspire to each other.
What we invented is a microbubble generator. It works with two major components, a fluidic oscillator and a microporous diffuser. The pores can be anywhere from 20 microns in size up to a few hundreds of microns in size. We've created the possibility to make the bubbles on the scale of the pore without adding any extra energy.
The potential in the water industry alone is quite large. We use bubbles, believe it or not, in quite a number of applications. We're actually talking about potentially reducing the electricity usage over the UK for something like 0.5% of all the electricity in the UK. Now that is a really worthwhile benefit. Why we can work so well with Sheffield University, why we form a good partnership is because there comes that stage where you have to take it out of the lab, take it out of a little pilot plant and test it out in reality. If this works as well as we hope it will, there'll be a terrific value and a terrific market for all this on a global basis.
Just start talking. The universities will be there with open arms if just they're approached. There's also a lot of venture capital money out there ready to do this stuff. You know, they're looking for ideas, they're looking for stuff that makes sense to industry, but they won't just listen to a university. The commercial partner needs to be in there from the start. So there's definitely a win-win-win there if you look for it.
Students that we have doing research within the department like the idea that we're giving them a multidisciplinary skill set, and I think the environmental engineering angle is a really good opportunity to do that.
An example of the relationship we maintain with the university is through the lecturing that I do to the MEng and the third year students.
I quite enjoyed Jamie's lectures because when he came in, instead of going over high level stuff, he went over practical stuff like this is what my company does, this is how we do it. When you've got someone coming in showing you what you're actually going to be doing and then saying, if you want a job, come and speak to me, that's a big push.
For the students, it's really important that they can come out and get their hands wet, in this case muddy if it's geotechnics work, but getting them to actually appreciate what the dry theory that they've been learning means.
I chose to study here because it brought a lot of different aspects together. It brings a lot of the engineering sides, which I find quite interesting, as well as all the microbiology work as well. So it's a good way to tie in lots of different disciplines.
I think it's essential over the long term that we maintain the relationship with the university. From a business point of view, we want to keep access to the good students. I think we benefit as a business from just having links to the researchers and academia so we can stay innovative and basically first in the queue, giving us a competitive advantage.
A company such as mine, AECOM, wants to be seen as a leader. We want to do innovative technologies, and more than that, we actually want to contribute into making water and waste treatment a more sustainable process. So that's why we value these partnerships. We know it's going to be a long-term benefit. I mean, we've got some terrific technologies on the table now, but I just wonder, what's coming down the line in a few more years.
I think Sheffield have been particularly good at the collaboration with both industry and bodies like the Environment Agency. Most of the people that I've been involved with in Sheffield have been keen for their science to be taken up for the public good, and they also seem to be quite happy to collaborate with each other.
Some of the things that you need to have in place, some of the key ingredients to effective multidisciplinary research is you have to have good leadership from the university. We certainly have that at the University of Sheffield. We have our executives, we have our academic leaders who really want this to happen and support it. You need a few people like me that help push people out of their individual areas and get them together. Try to organize some events where we have a chance to tell each other about the research that we do. But the most important thing is you have to have curious academics. You have to have people that are drawn into the problem because it's so interesting. That's the great thing that we have at Sheffield, that allows us to tackle something very broad like environmental protection and really draw on all this talent that we have.